faster and requires much less data consumption than the main application. Although Q1 was relatively slow in development due to the constraint of resources caused by the stay-home order, we have been getting positive data feedbacks on Momo Lite. With the productivity coming back, we are now speeding up on the iterations to enhance the user experience. On the main application, we also have started showing localized version with tailored content and activities that better appeal to the users in lower tier cities. Soon, we will be supporting these new product efforts with a promotion programs that are also tailor-made for the lower tier markets. We believe these initiatives will help us better satisfy the social demand in different geo regions and thus better seize the growth opportunities there.
上次财报会时我提到过，由于开放式社交市场的碎片化以及社交偏好的多元化，我们计划采用产品组合的模式，来更好地满足用户的社交需求，这也是公司一项重要的战略，能够帮助我们更加有效地渗透市场，巩固开放式社交领域的领导地位。过去几个月，团队在这一方面取得了积极进展。比如，我们在去年推出了一款基于音频的约会 App 赫兹，目前这款 App 已初具规模，并开始商业化，其产生的营收已经能够支撑自身的投放需求，从而形成独立的正向循环。除此之外，我们还在通过若干其他新项目，向泛社交、泛娱乐领域的其他子板块进行延展，其中一些已初步成型。未来我们会和大家分享更多这一方面的信息。
On our last earnings call, I mentioned that due to the fragmentation of the open social space and the diversity of social preferences, we are adopting a portfolio approach to better serve the social demand of our users. This is also an important strategy for us to penetrate the market more effectively and strengthen our leadership in the open social space. During the past few months, we have made solid progresses on that front. For example, Hezi, or Herds in English, an audio-based dating application we launched last year, have already scaled to a level where we can start monetizing and reap profits to support its own growth. In addition, we also have a number of other projects branching out to different subsectors within the social and entertainment space. Some of these projects are starting to take shape. We look forward to sharing more information as the year progresses.
总体来看，2020年一季度对陌陌公司来说是一个挑战和成果并存的季度。很高兴我们的团队能够在这样的环境下，始终保持明确的长远战略目标，并坚定而稳健的向前推进。尽管未来几个月宏观层面的不确定性会依然存在，但同时我们也看到了很多的增长机遇。陌陌将一如既往地把握这些机遇，为股东创造更多的价值。感谢大家对陌陌的信任。
Overall, Q1 2020 has been a tough and yet very fruitful quarter for us. I'm glad that the team have been able to stick to our goals and keep pushing forward on the strategic front. Although the macroeconomic environment is probably going to remain as a headwind for the coming few months, we are seeing plenty of growth opportunities ahead of us. We will continue to pursue these opportunities and drive value for our shareholders. Thank you for trusting Momo. With that, I'm handing over to Wang Zong for our business review. Wang Zong, please.
接下来介绍一下我们在主要业务领域取得的进展。
Thanks. Now let me take you through the progresses we've made across our key business lines.
首先是直播，2020年一季度直播收入23.3亿人民币，同比下滑13%。如我们上个季度电话会所说，直播业务的压力来自于几个叠加因素的影响，其中最重要的两个分别是新冠肺炎疫情对宏观经济的打击，对用户，特别是高额付费用户的消费情绪带来的负面影响，以及疫情造成的流量压力。
Firstly, on live broadcasting, total revenue from live broadcasting business for the first quarter 2020 was 2.33 billion RMB. down 13% from the same period last year. As we mentioned on the last earnings call, the pressure on live broadcasting business was due to the compound of a number of different factors, among which the two most important ones are the economic impact of the COVID-19 adversely affecting the consumer sentiment, especially among the top of the pyramid paying users, and the pressure around the traffic in connection with the virus outbreak.
鉴于当前具有挑战性的环境，团队的首要任务是加强产品和运营工作，以减轻对收入的冲击。春节过后，团队在直播间推出了一系列提升用户体验的新玩法，其中大多是与企鹅类似的互动型礼物，主要专注于通过小游戏提升腰部用户的参与度和消费意愿。二季度，我们将继续加大对于中层消费的运营力度，通过更丰富有趣的内容和活动来带动腰部的消费。
In view of the challenging environment, the biggest priority of the team is to strengthen the product and operational efforts to mitigate the impact on revenues. After Chinese New Year holiday, the team rolled out a number of new gameplays within live broadcasting to improve the paying experience. Many of these are interactive gifts similar to the Penguin, which largely focus on improving the engagement and spending from the middle cohorts via mini-game contests. In the second quarter, we plan to continue to step up the operational efforts to drive the engagement and spending from the middle layers of the spending pyramid. Many of the planned efforts will revolve around building richer content experience that appeal to the middle layer and long-tail audience base.
我们认为，推动腰部和长尾用户消费的另一个关键因素，在于建立一种有效的机制，来发现并支持新人和入门级主播。我们在这个领域看到很多优化和改进的机会，这也是我们未来几个季度关注的重点之一。
The other thing that we believe is critical for driving middle cohorts and long-tail spending is to have an effective mechanism that discovers and supports new and entry-level performers. This is an area where we see a lot of opportunities for optimizations and improvements. It is also a key area of focus for the team in the coming few quarters.
对于高额付费用户，考虑到他们中的大多数是私人企业主，财务状况受到疫情打击，我们认为应该把工作重点集中在保持他们的活跃度，而不是让他们花更多的钱。去年我们遇到一个关键问题是，头部用户对季度赛的热情有所减退，因此，今年我们重新塑造季度盛典品牌，把它打造成新的赛事活动，并命名为出品人计划。这个新项目相当于我们去年大获成功的线下 VIP 音乐巡演活动巡乐会的线上版。之所以称之为出品人计划，是因为我们让头部用户在活动中扮演了非常重要的角色，让头部用户挑选他们喜爱的主播，以组队的形式对战。4月初我们举办了第一期出品人计划活动，虽然受疫情影响，总消费规模低于之前季度赛的水平，但整体头部用户的参与度和热情比去年的季度赛有显著提升。我们将持续优化该项目，并计划在夏天择机推出第2期赛事活动。
For the high-paying users, given that most of them are private business owners whose financial conditions were pressured by the pandemic, we believe that our efforts should focus on keeping them engaged rather than letting them spend more. One of the key issues we had last year was that the top spenders were becoming less enthusiastic about the quarterly tournament events. So this year, we rebranded the tournament experience into a new competition event that we call the producer program. The new program was created as an online version of 巡乐会, or the offline VIP music tours, which was a big success last year. It is called the producer program because we let the top spenders play important roles in the event. They get to handpick their favorite performers to form their own task force and compete with others as a team. In early April, we held the first season of the producer program. Although the overall spending was lower than the prior tournament events due to the negative wealth effect in connection with the pandemic, the level of participation from the top spenders improved meaningfully as compared with what we saw in the quarterly tournaments last year. We plan to continue to optimize on it and roll out a second season somewhere in summer.
接下来是 VAS， 王宇稍后会介绍探探，我着重讲 Momo 主 App 的增值业务，不包括探探。2020年一季度 VAS 收入8亿人民币，同比增长31%。一季度用户数或活跃度下降，对 VAS 业务产生了直接的影响。虽然如此，但与直播相比 ，VAS 的商业化程度仍然较浅。同时，由于付费结构扁平化，几乎不受宏观状况的影响。因此，为了减轻一季度整体收入的压力，我们对 VAS 业务采取了积极的运营策略，通过丰富的线上活动和更有趣的付费体验，带动了收入的显著增长。
Now turning to VAS, Wang Yu will talk about Tantan's business later, so I will be focusing on the VAS business for the core. Revenue from VAS on an ex-Tantan basis reached 801 million RMB in the first quarter of 2020, a 31% increase on a year-over-year basis. The decrease in the number of active users and engagement levels had direct impact on VAS business. However, as compared with live broadcasting, VAS is still under-monetized. In addition, because the paying user structure for VAS is long-tail driven, it's much more resilient in a tough macro environment. Therefore, in order to alleviate the stress on overall revenues in Q1, we pushed the gas pedal a bit harder to drive revenue growth through operational events and richer paying experiences.
一季度，我们在聊天室里新推出了几款带有主持人形式的体验场景。这些场景的灵感来自于一些流行的约会真人秀节目，在商业化房间里采用了职业主持人组织活动并带动氛围。在陌陌，用户不仅可以以观众的身份参与，还能够随时成为活动的嘉宾。我们看到这种内容形式在陌陌有很大的拓展空间，因为它创造了一种有趣的消费体验，这与我们核心用户的心智非常吻合。同时，这种玩法已经被证实具有巨大的商业价值。一季度聊天室体验在用户活跃度增长和收入贡献两方面都表现出众。我们预计今年它将成为推动 VAS 业务增长的一个重要驱动因素。
As Tang mentioned earlier in his remarks, in Q1, we introduced a couple of new moderated experiences in the chat rooms. These experiences are inspired by some of the popular dating reality shows and moderated by professional hosts in the commercial chat rooms. On Momo, users can not only enjoy the show as audience, but also participate and become part of the show. We see a lot of potential in expanding this content genre on Momo because it makes a fun consumer experience that is compatible with our core user mentality. At the same time, it also bears considerable commercial value based on a proven model. In Q1, the chat room experience shined both in terms of engagement growth and in terms of revenue contribution. We expect it to continue to act as a key driver for the VAS business for the rest of the year.
除了聊天室外，我们也正致力于一些新项目的研发，这些项目将有潜力成为未来新的收入增长点。例如刚刚唐嫣提到的赫兹，作为一款独立语音约会 APP， 已经在年轻用户群体中崭露头角。我们已经开始对这款 App 进行商业化操作，将收益投入到市场营销当中，形成良性循环，从而逐渐扩大用户规模。另外，我们去年开始在陌陌上测试的红娘体验，目前也取得了很好的进展。我有信心，这些新项目未来将带来新的营收增长机会。
Other than the chat room experience, we are working on a number of new projects that have the potential to become future revenue drivers. For example, as Tang mentioned, Hertz or Hertz, which is an audio-based dating application, is gaining traction within younger demographic. We have already started monetizing the application and put the revenue back into marketing so that we can drive a virtuous cycle to grow it into a bigger scale. In addition, Hongyang, or the matchmaking experience, which we started testing last year on the core Momo, is also making good progress. I'm very optimistic that these new projects will bring new revenue growth opportunities down the road.
接下来简单介绍一下其他业务。移动营销收入同比下滑29%，至5716万人民币。这来自于宏观经济压力以及我们在策略上降低了对该业务线的资源配置。 联营游戏一季度呈持续下降趋势，未来几个季度的收入水平将围绕当前的收入水平波动。
Now, briefly on other business lines. Mobile marketing revenue declined 29% year-over-year to 57.16 million RMB due to the strong macro headwinds as well as our strategy to underweight the line in terms of resource allocation. Jointly operated game business continued to trend down in Q1 and will likely fluctuate around the current revenue level for the coming few quarters.
以上是陌陌主 App 的业务情况，接下来由王宇为大家介绍探探的产品及业务发展。
That's the business review of the core Momo. Now let me hand over to Mr. Wang Yu for a review of Tantan's product and business development. Mr. Wang, please.
Thanks. So let me briefly review Tantan's operational and business development in the past quarter and our next step plans. First, on user metrics. As many of you know, we had some issues around user retention, which caused the number of daily active users to be under pressure since September last year. Last December, through a series of product and algorithm optimizations, we fixed the issue and pushed the retention back to where it was before the download suspension happened. As we stepped up the channel marketing efforts in January, we saw the DAU grow rapidly during the 2 weeks period from late January to mid-February. However, since February 10th, as the spread of COVID-19 continued beyond Wuhan and the nationwide lockdown kept getting elevated, we have seen the dating sentiment quickly waning, creating headwinds to new registration as well as the paying conversions on Tantan. In response to these situations, we scaled back our marketing spending in March due to ROI considerations. The combination of the above-mentioned factors have caused the active users to trend down since mid-February, which led to a 300,000 net decrease in the number of paying users to 4.2 million at the end of Q1. With the lockdowns lifted and the outdoor activities gradually coming back, we expect to see dating sentiment start to recover gradually as well. However, we also believe this can be a progressive process, as most of the people are still wearing masks outdoors, and it can take time for young people in China to completely let down the psychological barrier to meet someone they do not know well for intimate interactions. The other thing worth mentioning is that although the number of active users were under pressure during Q1, the number of active female users and their engagements gradually grew on a sequential basis. This tells us that female users are less focused on online to offline conversions, are more into building deeper level online emotional connections. It confirms our belief that by adding richer online interactive features, we can make Tantan appeal to a broader base of users. Now, briefly on revenues. Total revenue for the first quarter was 381.7 million RMB, up 29% year-over-year, and a slight uptick from the previous quarter. Although number of paying users decreased pretty meaningfully, the RPPU grew significantly due to the outstanding performance of Flash Chat, and revenue mix shifting more towards higher RPPU subscriptions. The grossing to revenue conversion is another factor for the RPPU increase. Now let me give you an update on the progresses we made against our key strategic priorities. First, on product and operations. Our key focus here is to enrich the product experiences in order to drive the long-term user retention. In our early days, Tantan started from the metropolitan cities in China and focused on college students and people in the late teens and early 20s. The simple swipe and match experience were quite effective for this demographic. As Tantan's user base grew and the demographic broadened, we need more features and experiences to better serve the increasingly diversified social preferences. In November last year, we rolled out the Flash Chat experience on Tantan, which allowed the opt-in users to get immediately connected with someone for a conversation before they focus too much on profile pictures. The new feature has been well received, driving immediate surge in the number of two-way messages. It also opens up new monetization opportunities. As quick chat continued to gain traction among users, revenue also ramped up rapidly in Q1, now representing more than 10% of our total revenues. We believe there's still a lot of potential in this experience, and we'll continue to optimize and drive growth from it. The success of Flash Chat proves that adding new features the right way can indeed benefit us, both in terms of engagements and in terms of financials. In Q1, we also accelerated the rollout of the new version, which features nearby posts to allow users to share more aspects of their lives, as well as make new discoveries based on content. Up to now, the new version has already reached 100% coverage among content users. Like many other social networking products, having a content community is very critical for driving meaningful interactions between users. The introduction of the nearby posts is an important step that we've taken to provide TangTang users richer ways to connect beyond our signature swiping experience. We will continue to optimize the new version and enhance the community experience around it. In Q1, we also moved deeper with the internal testing of an important consumer experience, the live video service. We believe this was especially important during the social distancing period, as it provides an alternative way to connect virtually and make people feel less isolated. In mid-April, we released more users into the testing group. As the number of users grow, we can now invite more quality broadcasters onto the platform and improve the quality of content, which will further drive improvements in user engagements, as well as the monetization potentials. Now, a brief update on monetization efforts. Obviously, the testing of live video is not just an endeavor to improve user experience, but also an effort to unlock the monetization value of the platform. We believe that content users have strong willingness and motivation to pay for value-added services in order to enhance their social experience. However, this huge paying potential needs to be unleashed by a combination of subscription and a la carte features. Live video is a proven monetization mechanism that drives ARPU, and which, if done carefully and in the right way, can also contribute to user engagements. We intend to continue the testing with extreme prudence and carefully monitor the data to make sure we stay on the right track with TangTang's core mission, which is helping users build romantic relationships. Other than live video, we also have a number of other priorities, which include optimizing the quick chat experience and the existing subscription features, as well as testing the formula of other new revenue features. We will continue to give you guys updates as the year progresses. Those are the key things that I'd like to cover for today. Now let me pass the call over to Mr. Jonathan Zhang for financial review. John, please.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our conference call today. Now let me briefly take you through the financial review. Total revenue for the first quarter 2020 was 3.59 billion RMB, down 3.5% year-on-year, or 23% quarter-on-quarter, exceeding the high end of our revenue guidance. Non-GAAP net income attributable to Momo was 736.3 million RMB compared to 910.3 million RMB from the same period of 2019, or 19% decrease year-over-year. Let me jump into the review of cost and expenses items, as revenue line items have been covered comprehensively by Wang Li and Wang Yu earlier. Our non-GAAP cost of revenue for the first quarter of 2020 was 1.85 billion RMB, same as Q1 last year. Non-GAAP cost of revenue as a percentage of total revenue was 51.5%, an increase from 49.7% from Q1 2019. The non-GAAP gross profit margin for Q1 2020 was down 1.8% year-on-year. The decrease was partially attributable to higher payout, which was primarily due to higher revenue contribution from agency-represented broadcasters. Secondly, certain fixed nature cost items such as headcount and depreciation of fixed assets related impacted the gross margin negatively as the total revenue declined, and these items represent a higher percentage of total net revenue. Non-GAAP R&D expenses for the first quarter was 217 million RMB compared to 207.4 million RMB for the same period last year, representing 6% and 5.6% of total revenue respectively. The increase in R&D expenses was mainly due to the headcount increases during the year. On a sequential basis, the non-GAAP R&D expenses decreased from 244.3 million in Q4 last year due to the year-end bonus incurred. We ended the quarter with 2,344 total employees, of which 725 are from Tantan. The R&D personnel as a percentage of total employees for the group was 56% compared to 54% from last year. The non-GAAP sales and marketing expenses for the first quarter was 645.3 million RMB, or 18% of total net revenue, compared to 567.5 million RMB, or 15.2% of total revenue for the same period last year. The year-on-year increase in sales and marketing expenses was mainly due to higher marketing spending from Tantan and to a lesser degree from Momo as well. On a sequential basis, sales and marketing expenses decreased due to less marketing spending from Tantan in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. Non-GAAP G&A expenses was 105.5 million RMB for the first quarter 2020, compared to 92.9 million RMB for the same quarter last year, representing 2.9% and 2.5% of total net revenue respectively. Non-GAAP operating income was 801 million RMB, a decrease of 21% from Q1 2019, representing 22.3% non-GAAP operating margin for the quarter, down 5 percentage points from the same period last year. Now briefly on effective tax rates. Starting from the beginning of 2020, one of our major profit-making subsidiaries preferential income tax rates changed from 12.5% to 15%. As a result, our consolidated non-GAAP effective tax rate was around 19% for the first quarter, up 3 percentage points from the same period last year. Now turning to the balance sheet and cash flow items. As of March 31st, 2020, Momo's cash equivalent, and short-term deposits totaled 15.47 billion RMB compared to 14.93 billion RMB as of December 31st, 2019. Net cash provided by operating activities during the first quarter was 543.5 million RMB. Lastly, for the second quarter of 2020 revenue guidance, we estimated our second quarter revenue come to the range from 3.8 billion RMB to 3.9 billion RMB, representing a decrease of 8.5% to 6.1% year-on-year, and an increase of 5.7% to 8.5% quarter-over-quarter. Please be mindful that The forecast represents the company's current and preliminary view on the market and operational conditions, which are subject to changes. The other thing worth mentioning here is that up to this moment, Momo has made special cash dividends for the past 2 consecutive years. To replenish our US dollar funding consumed, the company will repatriate 2.2 billion RMB in total from our WFOE in China to our offshore entity before the second quarter end. In accordance with the respective taxation laws in China, the company will pay 10% or 220 million RMB withholding tax to Chinese tax authorities. The withholding tax payments will be recorded as income tax expenses for the company in the second quarter of 2020. That concluded our prepared portion of today's discussion. With that, let me turn the call back to Kathy to start Q&A. Kathy, please.
Just a quick reminder for those who can speak Chinese, please ask the questions in Chinese first, followed by English translation by yourself. And also please try to limit the number of questions to either 1 or 2 so that more people get to ask questions. Operator, we are ready for questions.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now begin the question and answer session. And for your questions, it is star 1 on your telephone keypads and wait for your name to be announced. To cancel the request, it is the pound or hash key. Once again, it is star 1 on your telephone keypads for your questions. The first question comes from the line of Thomas Chong of Jefferies. Is that your question?
晚上好，谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我有2个问题。第一个问题想问一下，就是我们的 Q2 的收入的指引，可以分享一下呢我们Core Momo 还有探探呢在收入方面的进展。然后就是在今年下半年的话呢Core Momo 还有探探呢收入的business trend 呢可以大概分享一下嘛。然后第二个问题呢是关于探探的，就是从我们的测试那边，就是直播的测试，可以分享一下我们有什么用户的反馈，还有就是说了会不会影响到我们整个生态的系统了，然后看全年的话或者是未来几个季度的话，我们对探探直播的收入了会不会有什么的 KPI？Thanks management for taking my questions. My question is on 2 parts. First, is about the Q2 revenue guidance and the second half outlook. Can management share more about the core Momo live streaming and Tantan business trends in the coming quarters? And my second question is more relating to the Tantan side. Given that we have started testing for the live streaming services, can management share about what lessons we have learned from the testing? Would that affect the dating ecosystem and any KPI that we should expect for the live streaming revenue for the year? Thank you.
我来回答一下吧，问题很多。公司2季度的指引呢，其实主要是基于我们目前看到的一些趋势，以及管理层对于未来1-2个月的一个假设。那么主要分几个方面来看吧。首先直播的2季度截止目前的数据趋势来看呢，我们认为宏观经济，特别是私营企业主的经济状况，对于我们这个直播头部的消费的负面影响还会持续一段时间。另外4月份因为有这个全国哀悼日的一个停播，对整体的收入呢也会有1-2个点的影响。那么同比下滑呢会比1季度要高一点，但是环比来看呢，直播收入仍然会有一个非常不错的一个反弹的一个趋势。那么 WAS 方面呢，由于2季度流量的恢复，收入增长相对就会轻松一些。同时团队计划相应的减少一些 UP 指向的一些运营活动，预计收入呢仍然会保持一个和1季度差不多的一个同比增长水平。 那么探探的话呢，我们觉得同比增长率在一季度的基础上呢是会加速的，主要的驱动因素是这个用户的逐步的回暖和新的这个营收项目的贡献。
So the first part of the question on the Q2 guidance, the company's Q2 guidance is based on some of the recent trajectories that we have been seeing, and also management's assumptions for the coming a couple of months. We can see it in several components. Firstly, for live broadcasting, based on some of the trends that we've seen so far into the second quarter, we believe that the macro condition, especially the economic condition of the private business owners, are going to continue to be a headwind to the consumer sentiment, especially that among the higher paying cohorts. And the other factor that we put into the assumptions, put into the Q2 guidance is that is the suspension of live broadcasting service during the National Mourning Day. That is also going to pressure the overall revenue by a couple of percentage. So, the rate of YY decrease in the second Q for live broadcasting, for Momo's live broadcasting, it's going to be a little bit higher than what we saw in Q1. But on a sequential basis, live broadcasting is still going to see a pretty nice rebound from the first quarter. And for VAS, I think because of the recovery of traffic, the pressure around the revenue is going to ease up. And at the same time, the team also has a plan to scale back on some of the very ARPU-oriented operational efforts. But overall, we expect the YY growth rate for VAS to be able to maintain the same level as we saw in Q1. Now for Tang, our expectation is that we're going to see some acceleration. The YY growth rate is going to see some acceleration from Q1's level, and the main driving factors would be the recovery of users as well as the contribution from new revenue projects.
那么刚才也问了一下关于下半年的预期。那么尽管我们认为宏观经济相关的一些不确定性仍然会持续一段时间，但是目前管理层对于下半年的收入前景仍然是比较乐观的。那么主要是几个增长的一个因素。那么直播方面呢，我们会有一些新的产品和运营的措施出台，相信这些措施会逐渐的起效。那么 WAS 方面呢，商业化的程度还是比较浅，增长空间还很大，同时呢，它也不太受这个宏观的一个影响。刚才已经跟大家介绍过了，不管是这个聊天室啊，还是新的项目来看，下半时 WAS 收入都会持续一个快速增长的状态。那么第三个方面呢，探探的流量呢已经开始在逐步的恢复，新的收入引擎呢也开始逐步的启动。目前初步的测试数据呢已经可以看出，探探确实蕴含着一个巨大的一个货币化的一个潜力，这种潜力将会从下半年开始逐步的有节奏的一个释放。那么基于我刚才说的这些判断，管理层相信下半年的营收比上半年的话会有一个非常明显的增长。
With regards to the revenue outlook for the second half of the year, although currently we believe that the uncertainties at the macro level are probably going to be lingering for some time, but actually, we are still pretty optimistic about the revenue outlook in the second half, and here are some driving factors that we're looking at. Firstly, for live broadcasting, we're going to continue to roll out product and operational efforts. We believe that these efforts will take effect on a progressive basis. For VAS, it's not as deeply monetized, so we do see plenty of headroom for further growth. At the same time, it is also going to be much more resilient in a tough macro environment. As we said on the 4 parts of this call, based on where we are with the chat room experience, and also based on where we are with a number of new projects that we're currently running under VAS, we think that VAS revenue is going to continue to grow very rapidly as we head into the second half of the year. And thirdly, on Tantan, we have already been seeing recovering trends in Tantan's users. And, as we said, the new revenue engine is also beginning to warm up. Now, even based on the very initial testing data, we can see that there is indeed huge monetization potential in Tang's user base. Such potential will start to get released in the second half of the year in a graduated and methodical manner. So I guess based on these driving factors, we are pretty confident that the revenues in the second half of the year is going to see a pretty meaningful growth from the first half of the year. Now here's one for the second question on Tang.
Okay, so regarding the live video test results, the test results have been very encouraging so far. Several things are worth sharing here. What matters most to us in the testing is that we don't want to see any new monetization features adversely affecting the dating ecosystem and metrics. We've been testing live video for several months now. It's clear that it does not have any negative impact on dating. In fact, I'm happy to see several important dating metrics we follow having trending up and recently reached historical highs. For example, the amount of two-way messages per user, not only per user, but in the total amount of two-way messages is at its historical peak right now. The number of matches and the amount of matched users. So if we do it the right way, it's possible that live video can even be positive to dating. Second, after we release more users into the testing group, the different operating and revenue metrics around live video services started to ramp up very rapidly. These metrics include the paying ratio, ARPU, time spent, etc. The trajectories that we are seeing confirms our belief that Tang's user base, there are huge paying potentials to be released. What's more encouraging is that the current paying structure is extremely long-tail driven, which reflects the attributes of Tang's users. With regards to revenue outlook, we're still at the testing phase and therefore do not want to be too prescriptive about the annual numbers. But based on the current trends, we believe that it can be a meaningful driver in the second half. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, ready for next.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Tian Ho of TH Capital. Please go ahead.
管理层谢谢啊，我觉得这个业绩在这种疫情下真的相当不容易了。我有两个问题，一个是刚才唐总提到那个陌陌的极速版，我想问一下，现在呢可能也是早了一点，但是还是想问一下，从我们上那个开始这个极速版之后到现在到达了一个什么规模？它的发展速度是什么？管理层对这个极速版未来的预期是什么？比如说它的增长速度啊，它的这个体量啊，另外还是这个极速版，因为它是一个针对下沉市场的，那它的变现的情况未来会怎么样？这是关于极速版的问题。还有一个最近市场上非常火爆的就是一些主播做这个直播电商这块。那直播电商这一块，我不知道我们有没有什么考量在这方面，也给大家去说一下。就这两个问题。
Let's see who's doing video and who's doing.
就这两个问题，谢谢。
谢谢，我是王丽啊。这个问题我来回答一下吧，关于极速版。
好。
那极速版呢，目前呢还没有做过一个大规模的推广啊。那目前呢，虽然有一定的一个规模的一个用户数量，但跟这个主版本相比呢还比较小。那我们计划3季度会开始加大推广力度，预计下半年的话，会为平台带来一个实质性的一个增量。那至于在这个商业化变现方面的话，那目前极速版只有这个会员跟直播。从直播的一个数据来看的话，极速版用户的付费意愿和能力并不弱于这个主 app。那么目前极速版并没有上很多这个付费场景团队的这个中心的这个工作呢，还在这个提升用户的规模和体验那商业化的场景呢，会在适时的时候呢，有节奏的进行添加。
我注意到刚才问题里边有一个包括了这个电商直播的一个问题。我们管理层确实在最近的一段时间看到电商直播在目前各个 互联网的这个特别是一些平台级的应用上的话，有一个非常加速的一个趋势。我们看管理层很密切的关注得到的这一些，而且可能我们对一些其中的一些的潜在的机会也在进行一些积极的研究和探索。但目前呢，公司并没有特别实质性的一些信息可以在这个会上来公开啊，大概是这样子。
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me translate the first question on Momo Lite first. So far, we haven't run any large-scale promotional campaigns around the Lite version. But at this point, it has already built up a pretty sizable user base. However, as compared with the main version, the overall user base on the Momo Lite version is still relatively small. Our plan is that starting from the third quarter, we're going to step up the marketing efforts around the Momo Lite. Our expectation is that starting from the second half of the year, Momo Lite will start to make some meaningful contribution to the overall user base of the core application. With regards to the monetization potential, at this point, the Lite version only has membership and live broadcasting, but based on the live broadcasting data, the willingness to pay and the paying potential on Lite is not any weaker than that of the users on the main app. But at this point, there are just not as many core paying experiences on the Lite as there are on the main version, because the focus the team is still on improving user experience and building out the scale. I think where we're gonna start to open up more monetization opportunities at a pace that we deem fit. So that's for the Lite version. Regarding the second question on the e-commerce related live broadcasting, as management of the company, we've actually noted the rising trends and the rising popularity of the e-commerce related live broadcasting on some of the major e-commerce platforms. And this is indeed one of the areas that we have been closely monitoring. And we are also pretty actively studying and exploring some of the potential opportunities that we can potentially seize. But at this point, we are not at the stage to share, any deeper information publicly yet, maybe later. So that's the answer to both of the questions. Operator, I think we're ready to take one last person, and then ready to close given time.
All right, sure, yes. We have our last question from the line of Daniel Chen, JP Morgan. Please ask your question.
晚上好，管理层，谢谢接受我的问题啊。我第一个问题是关于探探的，就是我们现在看到这个约会市场，其实有挺多的玩家也就增长挺快的，比如像瘦啊，像一对，然后腾讯也好像在搞好几个产品，就是我想问一下，就是能不能请管理层这个谈一谈这个竞争格局，然后包括探探这个未来怎么去应对这种竞争。然后我第二个问题是关于这个利润率的就是可以请 Jonathan 讲一讲今年整个利润率的这个 trend 然后包括一些主要的这些成本项，今年我应该怎么去看这个趋势？谢谢。I will translate myself. My first question is on Tantan. So we do see that many on the dating market, many other companies have launched kind of various dating products such as Soul and Yidui, and Tencent also launched some new products. So could management comment on the competitive landscape and how Tantan is going to cope with the competition? Second question is on the margin. Could Jonathan provide some update on the second quarter and like full quarter margin trend and also the trend of the key cost items? Thank you.
Okay. So regarding competition and competitors, like you mentioned, Soul and Yidui are probably the biggest ones other than Momo and Tantan at the moment. But as far as we know, they're focused on very different areas well, we are committed to helping users build romantic relationships. And as I've mentioned earlier, enriching the services and features is very critical in our user growth strategy. So we will definitely be considering adding more features in order to further strengthening our product offering. Thanks.
Hi, this is Jonathan. Let me address your margin questions. Let me answer that in two aspects. For core Momo, actually, as Tang mentioned, based on the the sequential revenue growth, we are very confident that we're going to achieve the revenue sequential growth annual target, and at the same time we're going to maintain discipline in managing our costs and expenses to help us to achieve an annual non-GAAP operating margin at 30%, as I discussed last earnings conference call. So that's still our target, and also our operating gross margin will be relatively stable. The only variable factor is the payout. So we do see couple of percentage pressure based on the higher percent of the revenue contributed by the agencies down the road, and also we allocate a certain budget for promotional events. So and then we're going to, on a rolling basis, to manage our selling marketing expenses. The rest of the operating expenses, R&D and G&A, are relatively fixed in nature. As the revenue continues to grow, we will see some operating leverage. So that's for core Momo. For Tantan, we do see a potential for faster growth on Tantan's revenue, and however, we believe at this stage, Tantan's priority is still focusing on achieving the user base recovery and then acceleration of the user base growth. So they would like to reinvest some of the additional profits generated by the new revenue driver into the selling marketing to support that initiative, and then for the rest will help to further accelerate the deceleration on net loss. So for the full year, the net loss on Tantan will come down sequentially on a quarterly basis.
Great. Operator, we're ready to close.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our conference for today, and thank you for participating. You may now all disconnect.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next quarter. Bye-bye.